from them. So,
We can go ahead and start.
okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks. Sorry we missed last month. So glad to see you. It's kind of unusual to be both places at the same time, online and in the room. So I'm going to call the meeting to order, April 26th, 2022. I just read that the Dalai Lama says that the older that he gets, the less he likes formality. So that's what I'm going to say of why I always am so terrible at Robert's rules. So let's go ahead and do roll call. Start with Lexi.
Present.
Kevin Somar, present.
Scott, let's go to you.
Present.
Centron is here, but
He's there. There he is.
okay.
Hi, Centron Felder here.
Okay.
Present.
Katie Miller, present. We need you.
You don't really, but yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
All right.
Present.
Okay. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. I believe Kevin may have had a chance to look at the minutes
I
from
did on my
the,
phone.
yes.
They look good.
Okay. Anybody have any comments on the February meeting minutes?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay.
Centron seconds. Centron seconded.
Okay. Let's vote to approve the minutes. Does everybody vote to approve?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the previous meeting minutes are approved. And our next order of business is the, just the affirmation that the new language for the ordinance, for the PCEB ordinance was approved by city council, I believe in their February meeting.
Yep.
Yep.
Signed in March.
Is there any, does anybody have any comments on that? Anything they want to add? Yes.
I would like to say that I met with Jennifer Starkey and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But while I was on the call with her, she updated the PCEB landing page so that it now, the link to the ordinance establishing the PCEB is now the new ordinance.
Oh, good.
So that's been updated.
Great.
So if you need a copy of it or want it printed, you can go to the PCB landing page and it's there.
I noticed that because I was looking it up today, and I also noticed it's a PDF and some funky formatting happened to the bullet points with the duties. So I think there were some extra breaks, but it's already been officially signed.
She
So
is restructuring the city page.
Yeah.
And I think it's, their deals like
The
the,
28th.
Yeah, it's coming out very soon.
Thursday.
Katie, if we can we get to the sunshine so we can get our city attorney here and
Yes.
out? Basically, just wanted to kind of do a refresher in terms of what you can and can't do with the meetings with the Northwestern Association and other community meetings
Yes, yep.
to keep you out of trouble.
Okay, so did everybody on the internet hear that? Review of the sunshine law with our city.
Neil
attorney.
Brentrager. Hi, guys. Nice to see everybody. Again, thanks for your service. I appreciate everything that you do. I only get brought in when I have to yell at people. So I'm glad not to have to yell at anybody tonight and just can kind of give you an overview of where we are. So sunshine is chapter 610 of the Missouri statutes. And basically what it does is it outlines what we as governmental entities and you as a board or a commission of the city of Webster Groves are a governmental entity under the sunshine law. The idea here is to make sure that every meeting that we have is transparent. Transparency occurs when you publish a meeting so that meetings are open to the public. Transparency happens when meetings are accessible. So again, when we're at City Hall, people can come up the elevator, not just the stairs. People can attend by Zoom, that sort of thing. Meetings are also transparent when you post them at least 24 hours in advance and you tell people why it is you're having the meeting. So those things are very important. You can have a meeting anywhere as long as you meet those basic requirements. And that is that you post it, that the place be something or a place that's open to the public, that you indicate what it is you're going to be talking about. So again, if you decide that you're going to move your location, you can do that. You just have to make sure that it's in your minutes. You have to make sure it's in your notice. And then the place that you're going to has to be a place that the public can access. And then everything else, just like you're running the meeting here, would occur just the same way. You have to keep your minutes. Everybody has to review the minutes. Again, informality, I think, is a good thing, particularly when it comes to boards and commissions, because you don't want to give people the idea that they can't speak or that they'd be hesitant to speak because there are rules that they don't understand. So again, Robert's rules are only really in place when people can't get along. And obviously you all get along. And so that's really not a big thing to worry about. Again, location is important. If you were, for instance, having a meeting in someone's home, that person can do that as long as A, we publish it, and B, they're willing to open the front door, okay? And that means that anybody could come in. Now, you may or may not have a lot of people that come to your meetings, but again, it's very important that if you do have a meeting offsite, that be an accessible place, okay? Beyond that, the only other thing I would remind you about regarding the Sunshine Law in particular is that your emails and communications that you have amongst yourselves, as long as you're using your own private emails, are not necessarily public records. But in order to keep with the spirit of Sunshine, we really want to make sure that we are not engaging in any city business on our emails. So if you're going to write somebody and say, hey, you're going to make the meeting tonight, that's not city business. I'm not worried about that. But if you're sending around information and you're looking for input regarding changes or what you're going to do at the next meeting, that sort of thing, that might cross over the line. And so again, I want to tell you to be very careful about it. Keep in mind, transparency is the spirit of this. So again, if your emails are private, they're not transparent. If things are done in an open meeting, your conversations are occurring in an open meeting, that's always going to be transparent. So again, it really is simple. It really is common sense. Again, the spirit of the thing is making sure people know what it is you're talking about and what it is you're doing. Questions that I can answer for people?
I have one that is, if they want to meet with a neighborhood association and they don't really want it to be a public meeting, or it's not going to be something that is available to the public, is it possible for a couple, 2 or 3 of them to attend somewhere to get some input and bring it back to the board without it being a violation of Sunshine Law?
Yes. So again, if you are going to a public meeting and you're there simply to attend and watch, I don't get upset about quorums even in a situation like that. If you're attending as a citizen, if you're attending even as a commission member, just because you want to hear what's being talked about at that other meeting, you can certainly do that and carry back. Now, again, you have to be very careful not to do anything or say anything that could be perceived as representative of the commission. Now that doesn't mean that the board that you're, or the commission that you're attending the meeting of couldn't recognize that you're there. I don't have any problem with that, okay? But again, going to watch, going to bring back information, not a problem. If you're going to have a meeting, or if you're going because you are going to participate in the meeting, then we have to be careful about things like quorums. Because if we have a quorum or greater, and you are actually participating in the meeting or the running of the meeting, we would have to post it, we would have to take minutes, we would have to do all those things. So, okay, yes, ma'am.
So technically, do we have to keep minutes when we've been invited to speak for 15 minutes at the North Webster?
No. So if so they've called and they've said, Lexi, we want you to come to our meeting. We want you to talk to us. You can do that, talk about what it is you want to accomplish. You're there as a member of this commission, but again, we're not there as a group. If you are invited as a group, at that point,
we are as a group.
right. I would tell you that it would be a good idea under those circumstances to post the fact that you're going to be appearing as a group. Even if you're not going to have a quorum, I think it's a good idea to post online that you're going to be appearing.
On our PCEB website.
And on the city's website.
Yeah.
We typically, when we met with the Alliance on 2 or 3 occasions, and we met with the Rotary Club, we posted that through Katie so that it was a posted meeting.
It was in the context of an actual meeting though, and they participated on Zoom, so that really wasn't the same kind of thing as what we're talking about. That's all I wanted to make sure was that you were comfortable with, and that our city, that Neil is comfortable with. If you're going to Northwest Association, if you're going as a quorum, you need to publish it as a meeting if you're going to participate, or you could send a couple people
And
So if
report
you
back.
don't have a quit, they could report back to the board. So, I mean, I think those are the two options. I'm not quite sure how, it's totally up to you how you want to do that. I just. want you to
I'm
see
kind
the-
of hearing two different things because
No, it's the same.
even the board was invited, but there, for example, it might be just Lexi and I.
Right. Okay.
Attend.
Right, so,
Okay.
so,
So,
right, North Webster is not a city commission, right?
That's
It's
correct.
a neighborhood organization, for lack of a better word.
right,
So under those circumstances, they invite you as a commission to appear.
right.
I would say the safe bet is always to post that we've been invited, okay? And again, you're not going for the purpose of conducting a meeting,
Mhm.
you've just been invited to attend. Now, they may ask you individual questions while you're there about what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. You're not technically conducting the business of the PCEB in a situation like
No,
that.
but we might be making a presentation.
So if you make a presentation and it's one person and there's 2 or 3 of you there, how many are on your commission?
There's 8,
Okay,
and right now the 8th person is, do we have any person now?
so right now you've got 7 that are seated. So 4 is a quorum, all right? So anytime you're sending less than 4, you're never gonna have a problem. If you send 4, err on the side of caution and simply post, okay?
Okay.
Now, again, it's not technically your meeting, you're just going to attend, but if the concept behind Sunshine is transparency, you're being fully transparent. Now, at that point, you would simply say, we've been invited to attend, we're going to attend. But you're not running the meeting, it's their meeting,
Right.
okay? You're simply a guest, for lack of a better word. And even if they're asking you questions, you're still a guest. You're not.
We have no
conducting a
idea
meeting.
what their agenda is.
Sure.
We just know we have 15 minutes.
Right. So under those circumstances, again, you're always safe if it's just 3. If it's 4 of you, just post. We've been invited, we're going to attend. Okay. And then when you come back at your next meeting, report what you talked about so that
Right.
your minutes reflect that you were there. That's really closed the circle if you've done that. So it's common sense. How do we let people know what we're doing? That's all.
Right.
Okay,
That makes sense.
Thanks, Neil, appreciate it.
okay, that's it.
I
That's
think
it.
somebody else.
So I've been invited to go to the budget meeting next door. Please keep me longer.
Sorry.
All right, good luck,
Thank
everyone,
you.
and thanks
Thank
for everything
you.
you guys do.
Business deal.
If I can help, let me know.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody have anything they want to say, add? Further that discussion? No? Okay, I wanted to say one thing on our previous item, which was about the language of the ordinance. And I did want to say thank you to the Alliance because they really did, they helped us a lot in working on that language and gave us some different options that maybe we wouldn't have thought of. So anyway, I just appreciated their work and their pushing on that language. So I wanted to reflect that. Okay, now we're moving on to updates and news from Chief Curtis, which seems like there's a few things.
Just a couple. Lieutenant McCoy on Jillian, first, she and Kim are participating with Webster University in a new program they're having. So Jillian, if you would maybe explain that, what you and Kim are going to be doing and the kind of interaction you had briefly, and then we'll introduce Paul.
Sure. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So I was contacted, I would say approximately 2 months ago, I was contacted by the program director of Webster University. That's Allie Brokaw. And she asked if we would be a part of something called the CCRT, which is it actually stands for the Coordinated Community Response Team. After having a very lengthy conversation with her about what that meant, we decided to kind of go forward with that after talking with Chief Curtis. So I'll go ahead and go forward and explain to you exactly what that means. So Webster University right now, they want to create this team, which is in motion. I think we are on the second stage as of now of CCRT. And it really is a collaborative team. It's comprised of campus and community partners, and they engage in Webster University community and preventing and responding to the following things. These things are sexual assaults, relationship violence, and stalking. While promoting change in the student behavior, Ally and I spoke pretty in depth about this. Specifically, the team is comprised of Webster admins, staff, the Webster Groves Police Department, victim services representative, student affairs administrator, Title IX coordinator, the Clery officer and dean of students. And there is a plethora of people who are on this team. And what we do is we meet once a month, and we just had our first meeting. And we meet once a month and we kind of spitball ideas and thoughts. But what we really want to do is we want to start to hold events for Webster University a couple times a year, really to educate the students on what it is to be a victim of a sexual assault, what stalking means, what relationship violence means. They took a poll and it was very interesting. When they took a poll from students and they asked what the definitions of those certain things were, it created a discussion, and that's something that we really wanted to talk about. So in our last meeting, we really talked about that and just what it means, to people who are 40 years old or 50-year-old people, as opposed to 19 and 20, 21-year-olds. It's totally different definitions. So we created this team, and the Webster Groves Police Department is a part of it. I thought it would be a really good idea, after talking with Chief Curtis, to provide Webster University with that direct access for people who may be victimized. I think that Detective King, who is now filling in the position that I used to have, I think that she would be fantastic for that. So her and I are part of this board to give ideas and thoughts, to attend future events. I know there's an event that we're thinking about putting on, and Ally and I and a bunch of other people are coming up with ideas for the future class that starts the end of August, and holding a seminar for those new students and the students that are currently there about what it does mean to be a sexual assault victim and relationship violence, and what to look for when you're being stalked and so forth. And so I thought it was very important for the Webster Groves Police Department to allow the university to have that direct contact to someone like Detective King, who now specializes in things such as that. So Detective King, I'll let you introduce yourself, but she has kind of taken over the position that I had for many years, and I've kind of been molding her and teaching her things. And I think it's something that's very important, and it's a conversation that needs to be had. So I think she's doing a really good job at it, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so like Jillian said, I'm kind of filling her old position. So I primarily handle all of our sexual assaults, sex crimes, anything involving juveniles, things of that nature. And it's definitely something that's really near and dear to my heart, because I used to intern as a victim advocate. I was a social worker prior to getting into law enforcement. So I think I have like a lot of relevant knowledge to fill that position. So working with Webster U is something that I'm really excited to do, and I'm glad that I'm in the position that I'm in now.
Good, thanks, Kim. Jillian, you want to introduce Paul? Fred Bell, Detective Bell, and you all have met him he'd been on occasion. He'd been doing the community engagement job for the past little over 4 years, and he was getting tired of it. And you really wanted to go back and do police work, and I didn't want to. He did as you know, he did a really good job for us.
Yes,
and I
he
hate to lose him, but I also don't want to make him do something he didn't want to do. So we appointed a new community engagement officer, Paul Boudreau. Paul, you want to just introduce yourself briefly, and you can say
Yes,
hi.
so can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Again,
Okay, so my name's Paul Boudreau. I've been with Webster Groves now for almost 4 years. Really enjoy my time and everything that Webster has to offer right now. I'm really passionate about working with the city and also the community. My former roles include being a school resource officer and also attending community events and being liaison with between the school district and the police department that I was formerly at.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Welcome.
All right, I appreciate it. You guys can go ahead and enjoy your evening. Thanks,
All right.
Jillian.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Jillian.
thank you all.
Jillian, I have
Nice
a quick
meeting you guys.
question. I do have a quick question for you.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Is Webster Groves the security, the on-campus security? Are they involved in this activity as well?
They are, yes, they are involved. There's several other entities that I didn't name. I mean, there were so many of them. I mean, geez,
Okay.
it was half an hour to go through them all. But yes,
Right.
they are involved, and it's something that I think it's positive, and we're going in a positive direction on this. And a lot of people don't think that it's something that that it shouldn't be discussed, but in today's society, the definition of certain things, I mean, it's portrayed by, how old you are. When I talk to 6-year-old compared to maybe a 19, 20-year-old, the definitions are completely different. So it's a conversation that needs to be had. And when Allie came to me and asked me if I would be a part of it, and I talked to Chief Curtis about it, I thought that would be fantastic for Kim and I to kind of get involved in that and let people who may be victims now, who are too scared to come forward, get a chance to meet us at these meet and greets and these things that we will hold here in the future, and start to feel comfortable. And eventually, if they do feel comfortable enough, they could come forward to us. So I really wanted to open that up, and I wanted that to be an open avenue for students of Webster U to come to us directly, where they don't have to go to a patrol officer or, to 4 other officers. They go directly to us, and to Officer King. So I think that's important.
Jillian, Scott, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wondered for Jillian, is there some future event you could imagine where our board would also meet with a group that would be involved with this as part of our engagement effort, whether it be listening to what's going on and representing the board and bringing that back to our work here? I didn't know if you had ideas on that, how to weave it into what we're doing here.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I absolutely think that this area, I think that's a great idea. Allie, the program director over at Webster U, she is very open-minded and she's all about helping and making things better. And so I think the more people on board who can, contribute to these kind of things, I think the better. So yeah, I could definitely talk with Allie. And I can inform you guys on when we do our next event. I think our next event, I believe it's going to be in August, and that's going to be for the new upcoming class. And I think that would be kind of an open forum where myself and Detective King and the victims advocate and the CAC, a bunch of us would get together and kind of share our ideas and thoughts and educate these students on what we know and what to look for. And, having you guys there I think that would be fantastic.
Yes, Centron.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. Number one, and trying to figure out or understand the process that calls go through, and our responsibility as advisors. When a situation occurs, do they report it to the campus folks, the campus security? And if so, do you guys then take over the call, or do they do the investigations? And the second part of this is there a lot? How often do these things happen? Like, do you guys? I'm sure you track them, but is it like, is it a big occurrence of these type of activities on campus, sexual assaults or stalkings or that sort of thing?
There is not. Yeah, there is not. And the process generally is, I shouldn't say the process. Generally what would happen with the student is they call campus security first. the campus security handles minor issues there on campus, but anytime there's an actual crime, whether it be a misdemeanor, especially a felony, they call us immediately and hand it off to us. And on a sexual assault or stalking or those kind of things, those are almost immediately handed off to our detectives. And again, Detective King would get involved in those fairly quickly. I don't have the data, the exact numbers for it, but it's not something that occurs with any regularity. I can find out and get the numbers to you.
All the Clery data is available on Webster University's website as well. So, and sexual assaults are part of Clery. I can tell you last year there were none. So,
Okay.
What I will say is Webster University, they contact us pretty immediately after, they are notified of something. As long as the victim is willing, and wanting law enforcement involved. There are times though where victims just want to be heard. They don't want necessarily to go to law enforcement, or maybe they're scared or they're not ready. We don't want to force that. So, during those times, Webster University, they have several individuals that are on staff that answer questions, that sit there and they talk to them. And then that's when I kind of get called just to give me a heads up. Hey, we're not giving information relative to names or whatever, but I wanted to let you know that we do have a student here that, is going through certain things, and kind of giving me a heads up. And at that point I tell them, hey, please give them our contact information, give Detective King's contact information. So that way, if he or she is willing, whenever they're willing to come forward, we're there. That's the most important thing, is to reiterate that we're there. So whenever they're ready to call us.
Okay, last one, and I don't want to stir the pot about this, but what about, are there opportunities, or is there someone for the accused to speak with as well? Because I assume it's a double-sided coin there,
Yes. So Webster University right now, they have a counselor, and I don't know her name off the top of my head without going through all these paperwork here, but
Pages.
yeah, there's a lot of pages. Yes, there are people there. There's counselors there for the accused to talk to. And at that point, when they decide, okay, we have a victim and we have somebody who's being accused of something, it's Webster University, they decide who goes to who. So they make sure that, obviously they're not seeing the same counselor and whatnot. So yeah, there are services available for them. Does that answer your question?
Thanks, Jillian.
Thank you. I think it's wonderful that you guys are involved in this.
Okay. No, thank you. And if you guys have any more questions, I did tell Allie that, we would be speaking about this, and she was tickled pink. So if, we have any further questions or anything like that, I will be sure. I mean, you can contact me via email, telephone. I will get with Allie and I will get those questions answered for you guys and get back to you.
All right,
Thanks.
Thank you.
thanks, appreciate it.
Okay, you guys have a great night.
All right, you too.
Thanks.
Jillian is actually in Branson for a 2-day media class. That's where she's broadcasting from.
All right, Chief, do you have more news?
I did not really have any updates. I did think I did such a thing where I attended the community event with Presbyterian Church here in Lockwood. And they said they were trying to look how they could use their facility and their services to help to bring in some people from the broader community. And we met with their support. They had a number of people there. So it was a good event. Had some good networking, some interactions. They actually had professional, exactly what they call themselves, that were helping facilitate it. So I'm not quite sure what they ended up, the plan ended up with, but it was a good experience, and we did make some contact and help. Interact with them and let them know the police department's there to help them, and that they're certainly welcome to use us as a any kind of thing that we can help with them.
Like a
We
resource.
can do this, yes, see this as a resource.
All right.
And that's really all that I have.
All right. Okay, now we're gonna move on to,
I do have a
Oh,
question though.
yeah,
You had sent out the starting with what works, this using evidence-based strategies. And I read through all this and there's some things we're not doing, but there's quite a few things that we actually are doing.
Yeah.
I was pleased to see that, yeah, this police department is doing a lot of these things that they had suggested. So I think it's something that really can guide us maybe moving forward to work with the police department to do some other things, or to at least get some information as to what additional things that the police department's doing.
Well, I think that's why I sent that to Katie, so she has, and there's been some questions along this, are there other things out there? What have we looked at? What are we trying to accomplish? What are we doing? And really, the ICP has a lot of model policies, and it's the kind of initiator for a lot of different things, and we'd be trying to use them as a good resource. And like you said, Kevin, just about everything that's applicable that would work in our environment, in this community. We're not a big city, we're not a huge urban center. So some of the things that they're talking about really aren't something that would work here.
Right.
But those that do, we try to implement and again, use the programs and the policies to help us interact with the community and try and do the right things.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good resource, really great resource, looking through it in my view as well.
I like the distinction between warrior and guardian mentality, that those are both types of ways of looking at law enforcement. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and I agree with the three of you on that. And I have a question centered around the social media piece of that. So, work in schools, I listen to different areas where they discuss how children, K through 12 children are dealing with cyberbullying or Instagram. They're taking pictures of them and posting them. And so I don't know how, if you guys have a piece of the social media, a way to assist the community in that way, especially schools. But I mean, that might not be the time. This might not be the time for that question, but they referenced social media in that. And so I thought that was good. And maybe that's something we can discuss at some point.
And we do actually, both of the school resource officers work really close with the school district. They monitor the Facebook pages, the Instagrams, Twitters, all of those things. The school district, they don't get super involved in it, but they do monitor it anytime there's any kind of issues in terms of bullying or cyberbullying. Fortunately, we don't have very much of it, but it certainly does occur, and so you can't catch everything the kids are doing. But both of the school resource officers do work with the school district. We try and monitor those things like the Facebook pages, the social media, to catch anything that might be a problem. And also on occasion, there is an issue with the kids where one of the kids will come forward, and especially Cam has been at Hickson for quite some time, has developed a really good relationship. And quite often the students will come to him and he'll be able to catch something before it turns into a problem, or if it's turning into a problem, that he'll be able to do that. So we do look at it, something that we monitor and something where we have a good relationship. Cassidy was at the high school. She's fairly new. This is her first year down there, but she does a pretty good job with it too. But same thing. It'll take her a little while to develop more of those relationships with the students. That's generally where it comes from. Even though they look at the ones that, it's in private, they can't get into everything, but they'll get tipped off by a student. There's a problem going on, and that's when we can get into it. But we do have all the detectives and school resource officers are very familiar with the process to get subpoenas for social media pages. It's a difficult thing to do, but we have that process set up with them so that when something does occur, we're able to expedite it as much as possible. You usually can't, unless it's an emergency, you can't set something you're going to get overnight, but you can usually get it within a day or two.
Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, and in that area too, Centron, where you brought up the technology and social media, we had discussed as a board before you became a member of the board on numerous occasions how we can use social media more effectively to collaborate and to provide communication to the community at large. But it's difficult because we're kind of an entity within the city, so we don't have our own social media platform. So, I mean, there are other platforms like Webster Connect and those kinds of things that that are monitored. But as far as posting directly to those particular media sites, we have discussed as a board on how we can be more effective using those platforms. So, and we really have never come to a conclusion on that, and I think it's something that we need to continue to look at.
I think I mean, it's just realistic in today's world that we're going to have to figure out a way to do it in a way that feels like ethical and effective, and that probably should be an agenda item going forward.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that we should ignore. I think it's something that we should continue to discuss to see if there's some way that we can better utilize those tools, whether it's creating our own or whether it's posting on an existing, platform.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, if we could just post our meetings on some of the big platforms and what we're working on and invite people.
I
Is
think
that-
it's a good idea. I mean, again, I don't want to go too into the weeds on it. I think it's a good idea. I think in the past, there's been some trepidation on, well, what if somebody starts engaging in a conflict with us? Like, so let's say I posted on Webster Groves Community Connect, hey, PCB meeting, open to the public, May 20, whatever. And then somebody says, you guys are rotten. I think you do terrible work, right? And then we all have to have some kind of behavioral agreement on that. We're not going to say, no, you're a jerk.
You don't
How
have
the-
to respond.
right,
Sometimes
exactly.
it's better not to respond.
Exactly. So Scott, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would think it would be a one-way thing where
Right,
we're posting
right.
and inviting to this meeting and say, we're
Right.
working on agenda items 1 through 10, and we are not here to engage in debate on the
Right.
social media.
It's just can be a provocative, I don't know if you follow any of that stuff, but it can be
Yeah,
kind of like
it can get pretty nasty.
pretty nasty. So
Well,
you,
as somebody that's had to run social media for as well, I can tell you that you just really can't go onto a platform and say it's only one way, because
Yeah,
it will provoke. And so you've got to be prepared for
right,
how do you handle that diplomatically, and as Neil would say, in compliance with sunshine laws and things like that. So,
right.
Well, I think that's Lexi, that's exactly what we've struggled with. And that's why we're not doing it at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's an issue. Do we want to really open that up at this point? So, but I think it's something that we should continue to look at and discuss on
It
how
would
we
be a
can
good
possibly do it.
And we have to take some risks, and if it's a
Yes.
failure, it's a failure. We'll figure something else out. So, but anyway, let's put that on for May. Okay, so what do you guys, is everybody ready to move on to okay. So I'm gonna turn it over to Lexi, and Kevin, I guess, too, is working on this,
Really, Lexi.
Lexi, the planning and discussion of our listening session with
So,
North Webster neighborhood.
first, I'll give you an update. I connected again with Rosalind Croft. She's the president of the North Webster Neighbor Coalition. And so we're invited to attend their May 5th meeting. They start at 7:00 sharp in the Webster Rock Hill Ministries building. It is accessible. There's parking there at the same level as the door. We are one of several entities on the agenda. She's gonna put us near the beginning. They have invited the Webster firemen to give a presentation about fireworks and just safety coming up with that season, the summer, and they have incidences of, people not being safe. And I think she's also mentioned some police officers, but I'm not sure what their space on the agenda is for, what they'll be talking about. But we'll be there and we'll have 10 to 15 minutes, and they're very interested in, meeting us and starting the dialogue.
So Lexi, Sunshine said what time? Is it 7 PM? Is that right?
7 PM,
And
Webster
where,
Rock Hill Ministries.
where is that?
Kind of
Hold
off
on,
Kirkham. It's kind of like if you are off Kirkham and instead of
hold on.
going.
I got the address right here. Come on, glasses, so I can see it. It is at 111 East Waymire, Waymire Avenue.
It's a block west of the service center, Kevin, on Waymire.
long as I have the address and zip code, I'm good.
So,
I'm sorry, let's just a reminder, if more than 3 we go, you probably should you can just let me know and I'll have
And we'll
Katie,
post it.
have Katie post it on the city website.
Okay. All right. Is
Maybe
anybody?
you can send out a note to see who's going,
Yes,
okay? And
absolutely.
I plan on it.
Okay, and let's
and
see,
I'm
of
a
course.
member of
Is there
the
anybody else who
coalition.
knows that they would be able to go or would like to plan to go?
I plan on going.
Do you need, I mean, I can go if it would be, good for me to be there with you guys as part of the
It's always
team.
good for you to be there. You kidding me?
Well, I schedule me and I'll pencil me and I'll be there.
I plan on going also.
Okay, Reverend Hayes too, okay. It is my mom's birthday. I'm not necessarily gonna be going, but I do need to check with her to see if I'm gonna be spending that dinner with her or a different night. So, but regardless, it sounds like we have 4, maybe 5, so
We should post it.
We'll post it.
Okay.
All right, so Lexi,
All right, so given that it's 10 or 15 minutes, I thought we really don't have time to go through a full dog and pony show about what the PCSEB is about. But, and also they don't typically have, like, they're not presenting on a screen. They might have that capability, but I thought it might be easiest for them if we have like a 1-page handout. Now, what I've got here, and I don't know if I can plug in to show you all there. I can hold it. Oh, I could dial into the Zoom so that our Zoom
You can get on the Zoom there.
people can see.
can share
That
your
is so smart. All right, let's see if I can find that Zoom link. Because that's on a different email than I use regularly.
If you don't have it, I can probably send it to you very quickly.
Let's see. Come on.
I can send it to you an email if you want to get an email.
Oh, yeah, can, you just do OBRIN at Wustl,
OBR, okay, plan.
OBRIN at Wustl, WUSTL.edu.
I think this is fabulous.
I do too. I can't wait for you guys to see. This is really
This is
great.
really good.
I really want to see it.
USTL.org.
Edu.
Edu.
.edu.
Heck of a lot more concise than I could do it.
Oh, I still think it's too long. I was gonna ask you guys what we can take out.
Am I the only one whose members are listed wrong?
Pardon?
Or am I the only one who have the members
Forgot
listed
the email,
wrong?
right? You should be getting very short.
Oh, you're right. Our members are, because
Yeah.
Cindy and Angela aren't here. Yeah.
Or Jean.
Or Jean, right?
Jean.
Right, and so I wanted to get those names
Right.
and roles updated. All right, let's see.
So.
Sorry, it's taking just a second to get into a hotspot
Centron
here and get my
and-
email. Here we go. Yay.
So Centron needs to go on there.
And John
And,
Thomas is on.
When Thomas is gone.
Dr. Tina Scott, I can have Katie email you the roster.
Yeah, I was thinking, because I was looking and said, I don't think we've got a new roster.
I think she emailed it out a while back. I don't know, she
Yeah.
sent it to the whole board.
Almost there.
I think Lexi pulled this actually off the PowerPoint that I submitted.
I did,
Yeah.
I did.
Because I knew it needed to be updated.
Sorry, it's taken a little while to connect via Zoom. I'm still trying to connect.
That's why we need internet in City Hall.
It's still trying to connect. I'm gonna preemptively plug in my computer though before it runs out of the battery. Do you have an outlet? Right here?
Yeah, we just don't know where they're at.
You're so prepared.
I've been plugged in. and
Do
working
you,
from
want?
home
Do you
for
want
so
me to
long.
look while you?
Yeah, you're
Oh,
on
I'm connected, yes, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I need a place to plug in. I'll share the presentation.
There's one right behind you.
Is there? There's one right here. I don't know if I reach or not.
I think it might. Oh, that'll work.
We'll plug in here.
You have to have it here left.
That's okay, I can do that.
Okay,
Feedback.
I am not sure what it's, but I'm using the cell phone as my Wi-Fi hotspot. And I've got this muted. So why is it doing that? Is it stopped? Oh, I'm so
Turn your
sorry.
cell phone off.
If she does that, she'll
Well,
have
if
a
I do that, I
hotspot.
won't have Wi-Fi.
You don't have
Okay.
Wi-Fi here?
No.
We can have-
So we'll get an update on the members and maybe I'll work with Katie and Kevin to get that list updated. Scott, I think we have you here. Centron, I don't know what your role is other than a resident. I know that you're involved with the schools. And if that's part of why.
It's not connected to Webster specifically. I don't know if we want to include it or not.
Okay. Very good. So I'll get the rest of these updated because I think that the Webster Association would want to know who's on it. And those of us that attend will introduce ourselves. And then the first part of this presentation. Let's see. Let's scroll up. Dear heavens.
You're doing a great job.
I'm
and it's-
not, it's
yes,
not
you
supposed to be this hard. Here we go. So I just said we could go over the revised ordinance, the purpose and duties. And we could read the purpose that was just part of the new enacted ordinance. And then I thought we could list the duties, but it seems like a lot to actually read through them. So it could be something more that we would allow them to look at and read at their leisure. I also need my mouse. Anyway, the duties are all listed here on the page. I will email this around to everyone, but it's just an abbreviated list of the duties as listed in the ordinance, taking out a little bit of the thereins and therefores and getting it down to shorter bullets. And then listing some questions that are thought starters. We could have a little bit of conversation during the meeting itself, but suggest that people could write their thoughts and leave them with us. Or we could provide, in addition, an email where they could send their input.
I like all of that. I also think we kind of talked about this when we were working with the survey. I think another agenda item then at our next meeting should be to review whatever feedback that we got and what comments may have come in. So that people know that it's just not going into a vacuum, you know. But I think this is great.
For as short a period of time as we have, I think this is perfect.
Okay.
And I agree, maybe we can wordsmith a little bit and maybe shorten maybe the purpose, maybe bullet point it a little bit so that it's not quite, see if we can get a little bit more space in here for people to respond. So, but, I mean, that's exactly, I think that's great.
Are you gonna hand this out to everybody there and then just have them fill it out and just collect it?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
The other thing that I thought is that if we could try to gauge, and I don't know if we can, try to gauge how many of the folks in attendance have internet access.
Okay.
Or how they best can communicate with us and with the police department.
That's good.
So let's hear it through.
Yeah. So, somebody told me they can't watch me right. It's upsetting.
I'm turning off my Zoom because the echo is
Yeah,
horrible.
because I know in the past, Eric, Reverend Hayes, you've talked about this in the past, that, if we send out a survey, there's some of those folks that don't have internet access and they don't feel like they can respond. And we want to make sure this is all inclusive for everyone to be able to respond. And so, is there a place that we could tell them if they don't have access to the internet, can they mail it somewhere?
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that would be great if you need a place, if you need
You mail it to the church?
They can mail it to the church if you want to do that.
Are most of the people that, will most of the people that be members of the church or just
No,
the community at large?
community at large.
Because you could just have people turn it back into the church versus having them have to get a stamp, get an envelope, put it in the mail.
Yeah, just turn it back into the church, either.
And then we
either-
can, yeah.
Yeah,
we can swing by.
either your church, Eric, or Emerson's.
Either or both. It doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just have to pick one of us to go by and do a collection once a week or a couple of days after, tell them when we'll go by to pick them up, something like that.
Yeah, I think I would suggest if they're going to either if it's on a large enough paper, they can just fold it and staple it and then write on the that it's the survey return, or don't want to get it mixed up with the church's mail. I guess is what I'm saying.
right.
Mindy, sorry, go ahead. Lexi.
Will we have a PCEB email?
No,
No.
we'll,
Okay.
we'll talk about that here in
All
a
right.
second.
Very good. Well, we can easily on the back of this have a question, yes, or no, do you have internet access?
Yeah,
And then list the mailing address if not. And we could also invite them to have neighbors or other members that couldn't attend who'd like to provide some feedback, that we would welcome that.
Okay.
Do we want to invite them to identify who they are, or can they say if they'd like us to follow up with them? They could provide their name and some contact information if they want us to follow up, or if they would like Chief Curtis to follow up, or.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that a
that's
good
fine.
idea?
Or they can certainly, send it in anonymously as well. So
Okay,
Right.
if they would
Optional.
like for someone to contact them, put the contact information, but if they don't feel comfortable with that, or if they don't want to, they just want to provide input, it could be submitted anonymously.
okay. So I'm gonna say, if you'd like someone to follow up with you, please provide your contact information.
Mhm.
What I'll do is I'll make this look a little nicer, and then I'll email it around and everybody can beat it up. I
Okay.
can even do it on a Google Doc. Is that permissible? Is that way everybody could put their edits in it and it would just capture it? We
That's
can
good.
do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Just anything that you send out, just copy Katie Necozono, and we're covered on Sunshine. Because then that gets put in the permanent record here.
I have a question, just going back. What about instead of them bringing them to the church, if they turned all those questionnaires into Ross? And then we can just collect them all for Ross.
That's
I
I
probably
think
the
that would be more
easiest.
convenient for people
Right.
than finding a postage stamp.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
I can ask her, I'll email her tonight to see if that would be okay. And we could leave some extra forms.
Yep.
Okay. Are there people that, well, I don't want to take up too much of our meeting
No,
time.
this is good. Keep going.
Who do we need to update on that list of the members? I have Centron added. Is John Thomas still a school district? No.
I'll have the city clerk send out the updated roster.
Yeah, Katie will send out the updated roster.
Oh, so I'll get that from her and I'll put that in here.
Yep.
Okay. Do we know yet who our council liaison will be?
Emerson Smith came in a little earlier. He's in the budget meeting. He will likely be the liaison, but he has to be approved by the council. But it's fairly sure that he will be.
Okay, great. He also is a member of the North Webster.
Great.
Visited the last meeting.
What about, do you need or want to assign different people to speak in different parts of this? Or do you want to sort of lead it and let people jump in as?
Not particularly. I'm more the one that usually puts things together and somebody else is out there speaking. I'm happy to do part of that. I'm now an official member of the North Webster Coalition because I live in that community.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy to come up and introduce myself as a new member there and say that here are my colleagues that have come, and if someone else wants to, I guess we each introduce ourselves, whoever is there.
Right.
And then we need someone to read the purpose. And I think we're gonna do sort of a group edit and try to chunk that up.
We'll see. I mean, I kind of like it verbatim from the. Just
Yeah, I
take out the
kinda-
flowery words or the words that are like there, and if there are any, I don't think there are any in
And the
there.
purpose, I really.
the
did
purpose,
see
I
it.
think it's
That was
pretty
very
clear.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change it a bit.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it may be not, we may not wordsmith it at all, quite honestly. So if it's coming straight out of the ordinance.
I
So-
like that we have like 2 newer members and 2 historic members of the board, so that if they have questions, well, what have you been doing, or what happened 3 years ago, like Reverend Hayes and Kevin, you're there for sure to answer those questions. But I mean, I think my guess would be half of it will be questions and answers, and just what's their discussion.
Yeah, I just realized in this, I listed all the questions we have for them, but I didn't invite them to ask questions of us. So we should probably do that.
After after you guys do the purpose and duties, do you have any follow-up questions? Or, I mean, not to overcomplicate, you could ask those input questions and that might get their,
It might get them started.
creativity flowing, yeah.
Well, find out if they, I mean, depending on how much time we have left, ask if you have any comments at this point in time, or any questions at this point in time. You'll have a chance to complete this, on your own time. But, or do you have any specific questions at this point that you'd like to address to one of us? So maybe one member would do the duties and the other do one do the
Purpose.
purpose and another person do the duties. So,
I'm comfortable doing either. I won't be able to answer many questions, considering the length of time on the board, but I can certainly ask, I can read the purpose or whatever you guys would
Yeah.
like.
Okay,
Okay.
Citron, why don't you read the purpose?
I'm in.
And Reverend Hayes, are you gonna be there too?
I plan on being there.
All right. Do you mind doing the duties?
I can do that. I'll make sure I have my copy of them.
All right, we will. And then, or Lexi will.
Yeah.
And then the rest of us can just answer questions.
I think that sounds good. Lexi, thank you. I'm excited. That's a good
Yeah, this
step
is awesome.
for us.
We've been trying to meet with this group since right when COVID hit.
Yeah. It's really disrupted a lot of
Oh
community
my gosh,
activities,
this is
so,
awesome.
okay, good.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to updates. I know Kevin has some updates, so why don't we start with you, Kevin?
Okay, I'll try to keep this quick. So I did meet with Jenny Starkey. And we talked a little bit about the PCEB landing page. And while we were on the phone, she changed the crime log that was listed to the weekly incident report, which matches what people are getting in the email.
Great.
And so there's that link. And then she updated the link to the new ordinance. And we talked about changing the email for comments to Katie Nagazono instead of Chief Curtis. So people wouldn't feel intimidating sending an email directly to the chief of police. You're so intimidating. But, it just, some other method without setting up a special PCEB email. And the reason we couldn't do that is because of the lack of server space that they have within the city hall. Okay, so there's an issue with the technology of adding another email. Okay.
I'm fine with setting up the illusion to send it through Katie, although it could be work for her, but what will happen when Katie gets those? She will shoot them immediately to me.
Yeah. I still think it's probably a good idea. It's just funny. Even my daughter will be like, Mom, we're going by a police officer. And I'm like, why are you scared to go by a police officer? But people are. So.
Well, we need to change that, right?
Right, but it
So-
seems intimidating for a
Yes,
lot of people,
Yeah,
so.
so, but needless to say, if it increases the amount of people that want to comment,
Yeah,
and then it just gets distributed to us.
yeah,
And then we can discuss it at our board meetings.
and the other thing is, if it doesn't work, or there's no change, or people are saying, I don't want to send it to Katie, I want to send it to, we'll just adjust from there, but I think it's worth trying.
We talked a little bit about some things, how difficult it is to add information. It's not at all. She said, just work with me. And if I'm too busy, then I'll send it to Jen Conrad and she can work on it and we'll just communicate how we can add information to it. And I think the next step really is once the website is going to be refreshed, it's scheduled to go online on April 28th. So as soon as that goes online, then we can work with Jenny to figure out what else we want to add to it. Then I think we need to educate the groups that we present to and the people that we talk to on how to access it. And it can be a 3-minute training course on how to access our webpage or our landing page and what links are available there. Because a lot of them are already there. We just need to point people there.
Well, we have a nice intuitive URL too. So I'll put that on our little sheet here that we can present.
So
That's great.
that's really all I had. I needed to meet with Jenny, so we actually talked.
So on the 28th, we can all go look and get a better sense and to make changes if we wanted to, would be very easy.
We can't make changes. We have to
Right.
make them through
Through
her,
her, okay.
but we can see what the refresh webpage looks like. And then we can find out what we want to do as a group on what we want to put out there.
All right.
Do we want to write some kind of quarterly update on what we've accomplished?
Right.
Something like that to communicate with the folks. that-
Yeah.
And Jenny said it's not really gonna be an issue to add that kind of stuff out there, so.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
It's a great step, Kevin.
Okay, now I know I have no update, but I'm just gonna tell you what my no update is. Back in February, I contacted Jamie Mowers from the Webster Kirkwood Times, and she said, oh, I would love to do an article on you guys. That's such a good idea. I'm gonna get in touch with one of the writers and have them contact you, which hasn't happened, and I need to follow up with Jamie, which I will do before our next meeting. So that's my non-update. Anybody else?
I have a question that I
Yes.
heard from in the community. During the election, there were the big signs, and it was, I understand it was the unions of the fire and police endorsing specific candidates. But I had, well, my kid was one of them, but somebody else said, well, why are the police endorsing a candidate? And to me, I said, I don't know. I had never seen that happen before, and I realized that's probably not our role, and it's not, the police chief's role, because the union is an independent entity. But I thought it was worth raising with you all because it did create impressions in the community.
The fire department has actually endorsed candidates before.
They have, okay,
It hasn't been as prominent as it was in this past election. The association, basically the fire department did the same. And the reason for me would just be speculation. You really need to get a statement from them as far as, because as you said, strictly management, city does have a policy of individuals getting involved, but the associations are not individuals, so that they weren't in violation of the charter. So it's the question you would have to pose to the association and the union as to why of their endorsement.
yeah, no, I wasn't expecting you to have a response or that we could have done anything. I just wanted the group to be aware. Maybe that's obvious, but
No, it's a very valid point. My wife mentioned something. She goes, I said, it's not the police department, it's the association or the union association that is endorsing, making that endorsement, so. But it was a little different.
it was a very different election all around, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad it's over.
Scott, it looks like, are you about
Well,
to say something, Scott?
Well, I'm just curious I want to maybe be assigned to go do something to give an update from or reach out to somebody. I didn't know if we had passed around that kind of assignment,
So, I mean.
like different groups,
Yes,
I'm willing
do we
to
have a
sign
new
up.
group to reach out to? I know, I guess that when I am curious what your thoughts are for, but I was also thinking, what's our next move with Webster University, which I think of that as being kind of your.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know.
happy to do that then. I'll do that and bring that back.
Okay,
And then, well, I know I haven't really connected after Jennifer Starks is the one I was talking to before at Webster and moved over to this side to the city. So I got to get in connection with the new person.
and I do
So I can
think,
do
Scott, this is a good point too. Is there another organization that we have not reached yet? Or somebody that we want to do some follow-up work with?
Because
Well,
we
we
had
talked
that
about
list.
Webster Rock Hill Ministries. And I know that the police department has been involved in their food drives on occasions on their food bank. So do you have a contact with our?
Emerson Smith is good contact. Emerson Smith is a member of everything, but yes, Emerson really is heavily involved in that.
Reverend Hayes, are you in Webster Rock Hill Ministries too?
Yes.
Yeah, so is that a good group for us to reach out to?
I think it is. You've got I don't say mostly seniors, but it's still a good group to reach out to. And also, I was scrolling through my phone. I'm scheduled to meet tomorrow with Pastor Wendy Bruner. I don't know if you are familiar with her. She pastors church on Lockwood. Can't think of the name of it right now. But even nevertheless, she's trying to gather all the pastors within Webster area to form some kind of coalition. Told her I'm not sure if I want to be a part of it. I want to come listen first. But whenever they do have it established, if it gets established, it will probably be a good group to contact. But I'll get all the information tomorrow.
And Reverend Hayes, I don't know if there's overlap here, but I read in the Webster Kirkwood Times that Eden Seminary and that Peace United
That's the
of
church,
Christ.
Peace United. I'm sorry, Peace
Is
United.
that what you're talking about?
Yes, well, the pastor there, Wendy Bruner.
Okay, because I do think that
That's where the UCC gets their ministers.
yeah,
from Eden,
from
so-
Eden, right, but that might be another
Another
That-
entity.
another.
Are they also associated with Metro Congregations United? Because I know
Are they?
that's been a pretty active group and a number of Webster
You're
churches
right.
are part of it.
I'll tell you what, I'll do a little research and at least bring back some information on who the players are and what their involvement in Webster is.
Is there,
So, go ahead, Centra.
well, I'm sorry. So it seems to be a demographic void here. Is there anything that includes younger folks? Any organizations, maybe other athletic organizations that we could speak to? I mean, I don't know. It seems like we're getting some, the college folks who are Webster, which generally that Webster University crowd is, there are a lot of commuter students, so they're not younger either. So I don't know if there are any youthful groups out there that we could communicate with.
I don't know if this is too small, but just in the spirit of brainstorming, there are a few Boy Scout groups that are pretty active, like Troop 300, Troop 314. Those are pretty active groups in Webster. That might be an avenue to reach some younger kids.
Do we know
I
who
can do
our,
some. I'll look. I know one of the scout leaders, so I'll reach out to them and have some information by the next meeting.
Okay, thanks, Centron.
Where are we on our
our
youth?
school district representative?
So
Yeah.
Dr. Scott is our school, not this Dr. Scott, Dr. Tina Scott is our
Right,
school-
okay.
and she is, it must be very hard for her to get to these meetings. So, I guess we could follow up with her and see about the high school.
To see if there's some kind
Yeah.
of civic organization, I can't remember what they used to call them when I was in school.
You were in high
50 years ago. But they have clubs, all kinds of
Right,
clubs
right.
within the school that you could actually come and, one or two of us could go and do a presentation.
Right. They also,
Where- Oh, sorry. Where are we on our youth representative for this group?
so I think that that's another good place to follow, because again, if Dr. Scott can't come to the meetings, it's perhaps she can get us a student who can come. It's not the same thing, but I agree, we need to be fulfilling that part of our ordinance.
Right,
Yeah,
and the business owner.
yeah. Now, I would guess it might be more realistic to start with a high school student starting in August, like when the school year starts again. But, let's work on it. I'll send something out to Dr. Scott too.
Well, and I don't think we're necessarily just limited to Webster Groves High School now.
That's true, you're right.
So can reach out to somebody in Erin's.
Yeah. And they, I mean, they do have the Chelsea, so this would be volunteer hours for, you know, for the, what the students need to do for, I forget what their citizenship thing is, but that would be good. So,
There's still a month left of school, isn't there?
yeah,
I don't know. At the college I work at, it's way easier to get students towards the end, unless they're graduating, than it is at the beginning. because
Yeah.
They're all overwhelmed.
okay.
We'll
So
have
maybe
to-
the time to yeah,
Maybe talk to Tina. and
yeah,
find out what's-
somebody. I'll do that. Okay. All right. I think that winds us up on the updates now. Normally we have Mayor Welch here, retired Mayor Welch. And Kevin, did you want to?
Yeah, I wrote a statement and I sent it out to everyone. And I heard back from Scott and Centron that they seem to say it's good, go with it. So it's a very simple, but I'd like to try to post it on the PCEB landing page. And can I read it real quick? So I wrote statement of appreciation to Mayor Jerry Welch. The members of the Webster Groves Police Community Engagement Board, PCEB, issued this statement of appreciation to Mayor Jerry Welch for the excellent guidance she provided since the inception of this board. Not only was the PCEB a new board authorized by the Webster Groves City Council, but all members had little or no experience in participating in a city board or commission, and we were grateful for her kind and thoughtful input. We sincerely thank Mary Welch for providing us with the information necessary to properly function as a board and for actively participating in the meeting discussions. Mayor Welch was very supportive to all members in her role as the city council liaison, and we are very grateful. With sincere thanks, members of the Police Community Engagement Board. And I thought if we could, approve this as a statement and then post it to our PCEB landing page. I can work with Jen Starkey to get this out there, that it would be, I'm very appreciative of her and her input and her guidance, in the very inception of this board. So as an original member, so.
I completely agree. I think it's a great thing to do.
I agree.
I agree. My only thought would be, should we also, as part of this, congratulate new mayor and welcome new city council members? Is that something totally different? What are thoughts on that?
I mean, the council
think
did
it's
have a role. It wasn't solely the mayor, although she was serving as the liaison. So I know it's kind of a special case with Mayor Welch.
Yeah, we didn't-
know that
we
you
didn't
wanna call
necessarily-
it out.
Well, she was the one that participated and provided us guidance. Believe me, as the initial chairman of this committee or this board, she was very helpful in providing guidance on what the protocol was, and to make sure that we followed sunshine law and that we did things that were according to the rules of conduct for this board, which none of us really knew, coming in. So that's the reason that I wanted to point that out. So,
Right. I think it's totally appropriate. Like I said, my only thought would be, do we either do a separate congratulations to or welcoming of the new mayor and new city council members? Is that a silly precedent to set? I don't know the answers. I'm just throwing it out there for food for thought.
I like the idea of welcoming them, but not at the same time we're acknowledging Mayor Welch. I think that should be a separate thing.
Okay,
Yeah, I
But
agree.
that's my thought.
okay. Is there a venue or when or how would that be appropriately or well done?
Yeah.
How do we normally recognize, not just like our board, but in general, when do people recognize the incoming mayor? I don't think we need to set a precedent of something completely different, but I'm sure
Yeah,
other
I
organizations.
don't know.
welcome-
We haven't had an incoming mayor in 26 years, so.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Oh, wow. What about other, like you said, councilmen, also council persons?
Right.
How have we welcomed those and those folks in the past?
We haven't, I don't think, since.
We haven't, this board
We
is
haven't?
too new.
Oh, well, not just our board, but have you seen other
Sure,
boards
right. How is it
recognize
done?
people?
I-
Yeah.
I don't know if other boards do.
Hmm.
Not to my knowledge.
Well,
Scott?
we're supposed to report back at some point, one or two of us, right, to the council or attend one of the council meetings. Is that right?
Is that one of our, that might be.
That was one of our new ideas.
Yes, yes, okay.
And maybe that would be a time we could make that comment before the council.
I think that's good.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Okay, so going forward, we're gonna say the thank you to Mayor Welch on the landing page for the PCED. And then in a city council meeting, we'll be sure to
Acknowledge the
welcome or, congratulate the new city council members and new mayor.
But I think we can welcome the new mayor and the city council openly in this public forum at this meeting. And in addition, when we do the presentation, but I mean, I'm excited to work with the new mayor and with the new city council members, and
Yes,
the reelected Pam Bliss when she was reelected, and David Franklin was reelected as
Right.
well. So
Maybe we just post it a week later or something.
yeah, I think that's fine too.
that's good. I just didn't want to,
Slight anybody?
yes.
I get it.
Okay, well, let's go,
Good.
let's move forward with that. Does
So-
that sound okay to everybody?
I agree. I think so.
So I'll move that we post this statement of appreciation to Mayor Terry Welch on the PCED landing page.
Second.
Eric, second.
Okay, so do we have what do we do?
All in
Motion-
favor.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
And then,
Opposed? Nay. Not nay, no nays.
No nays.
and then move to also then welcome the new mayor and the new
Yes.
administration the following week. Is that part of the motion or just a second motion?
That can be a second motion.
So, yeah, I would move that we do such that we have a welcome to them and look forward to working with the new members, elected members and the mayor moving forward and build on the work we've done.
Second again. Oh, go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Scott, would you write that one?
Who, me?
The welcome? Yeah,
Yeah, I can.
okay.
All right. All right,
I have one other thing. I would like to mention, it was in the Friday page. But I don't know if anybody got a chance to see it, and I can certainly, I think I sent this out to Katie. I don't know if I sent it to everyone, but I can certainly, I've got the scan of it. But Captain Greg Perks graduated, I don't know if you were aware of this, but again, it was in the Friday page, but he graduated from the FBI National Academy, which is it's an amazing accomplishment. I think it says less than 1% of law enforcement professionals are accepted into and graduate from this course of study. And I think that he's to be commended for taking this step and to attend and to get this knowledge. And I think that the Webster Groves Police Department's will benefit greatly from this training and from this graduation. So I'd like to congratulate Captain Perks for that accomplishment.
thank you, Kevin. Thanks for being on top of that.
Thank you, Kevin.
I think I did see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really something. Now, does that mean that it's like up for grabs and all the police departments are gonna try and get them away from Webster Groves.
Fortunately, with his tenure and his, where he is at this point in his career, it's highly unlikely. The next step, if he would leave Webster Groves, would do, he could get a chief's job with another agency somewhere.
Okay.
Hopefully that won't happen. We're doing, part of our goal is succession planning, which has been for the last couple of years.
Mhm.
Actually, it's ongoing.
You mean you're gonna retire one day?
Someday I will not be here. But that just was great. We're trying to develop all of the staff, you know, as you saw Julian does a great job. And at some point, we'll try and get her to the NA as well. So yes, with this, our command staff's really well trained. 4 of our commanders have been in the Missouri Command School, which is also 10-week school. And both Captain Parks and Captain Spear have been to the NA.
I mean, we have some very, very good police officers in this city, so we're very blessed to have that, so.
All right, guys. Well, I think we did it. This was a big meeting because we didn't meet last month. So I think what's our fourth Tuesday in May is the 24th. That's high school graduation for Webster Groves High School. So I will not
Well,
be
then
here
you're out of
next
pocket for
time.
that.
Yeah, I'll be in Greece, so I could try and phone in from there.
That sounds not very fun. All right,
Do we
well,
have a quorum?
if 2 of us are gone, as long as everybody else is here, we should have a quorum. So you guys will have to proceed with that, but I'll make sure I have to send an update.
Don't need the vice chair still.
There is no vice
There
chair.
is no vice chair.
I was just saying, you can appoint me if you want. Appoint somebody temporarily to do that, put it out. If we get a quorum, we can have the meeting. If we can't, we'll get a quorum and we'll have this scheduled.
All right, well, everybody else has to promise to be here on May 24th. Don't, I saw some bad looks over there.
I might try. I don't know what the hours are different.
I'll be here. You're gonna be 7
All
hours.
right,
It will be very late for you.
so
Yeah.
I'll talk to Chief or Kevin or, you know, somebody about being chair for the next meeting and more to come. So anyway, thank you, everybody. Oh, wait, now I gotta get.
Just a meeting adjourned.
Okay, do I have a move? Do we move?
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
You don't need to vote.
Oh, you don't
You have a
need to,
second.
okay, this
Great
meeting is
meeting.
adjourned.
Good
Thanks,
job, Katie.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Good job, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stop recording.